Okay. So, hello everybody. This is another Toonkind at 12 FPS, remaining partial. It's in the title. My name is Pencils. I'll be playing a certain Shuffle our Godel, a Rubik's Cube boy, and will my amazing, wonderful, beautiful guests introduce themselves.
Firstly, I'd ask you to put your mirror down, pencils, but I am also here. Hello. Um, it's me, uh, Dupi Kieran. I'm playing none other than Lao Vis Blind, smelly bastard Birdman. Um, yeah, so
What are you talking about? He's wonderful.
no, he isn't. No, he isn't. You you don't you don't know the depths. You don't know the depths. He's not. But yes, he is going to be definitely not snooping. In fact, because you gave in their last game they played together, which was the Dough-ality Of Love. Go listen to that. It was fun and cute. And
It
Lao
was a
committed
very
some
good
food
game. It
crimes.
was great.
It was good. Lao committed
It
many
was
food crimes in that. Um,
a lot of food crimes.
so many
Shuffle
food
judged
crimes.
him very, very much.
Good. Judge him. He needs to be judged. Um, Hold him accountable for his crimes. Anyhow, yeah, at the end of that game, Shuffle handed out some, like, I believe it was like flyers, wasn't it? Advertising the archives.
They were brochures. They were like
Brochures.
handmade brochures, but that's yeah, he did.
Okay. Um, and that combined with the fact that Lao rolled something in that game to identify what the heck a Godel was. He didn't get much, but his interest was piqued, considering what he did remember. And he's just gonna go ahead and take that brochure and probably make his way over to the archives. He will bring Soul with him because you can't leave that you can't leave Soul unsupervised. It's just a bad idea in general. Um, but sometimes you can't help it. Uh, where are the archives, by the way? Do you want me to roll a survival to see if Lao can find them?
Uh, yeah, sure, roll them. I
Let's
mean,
go.
they're both the archives. General location is that I haven't got an exact location, but uh, it's near, it's near a settle. It's definitely near like a village. I haven't gotten like a solid location yet, but it's not too far away. It's not like in the mountains or something.
No, it's somewhere else. Well,
It's somewhere.
this is 24. Um,
Well then,
I
uh,
think
yeah, you find it.
Lao frickin' finds it. He is. I feel like when he opens the brochure, it's like it opens up and opens up and opens up, and then it's got like an animated 3D map where it's like, okay, go here, go here. These are the landmarks you can go by, and it's just a very interactive map that you can look at to get to the archives. Shuffle put a lot of work into
Oh yeah,
making this
well,
thing.
I said it was handmade, and yeah, that actually sounds like something one of Shuffle's siblings would definitely do. Just yes, this is handmade and 3D model. I was like, what the fuck?
Look, sometimes you got to go extra with your brochures, otherwise it's just not going to stand out. And it literally stands out like a pop-up book.
Yeah,
Interactive
it
maps,
literally
baby.
does.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, Lao basically finds his place with no problem. Do you want me to roll another perception? Or just a perception in general to see what he can see?
Yeah, okay. So I'm guessing you're standing in the entrance of the whole archives right now. So yeah, you should roll perception.
Let's see. 15. I keep forgetting he's got different stats now because of his redesign. I basically redid his sheet and he's better now. That's a 19. Uh, I'm gonna roll something for soul as well, just to make sure. Because basically, Lao can get around by himself, but if it's going like longer distances, he tends to like hook Soul up to his wheelchair and have Soul like pull him places. Um,
Mm.
so Soul has basically basically his wheelchair is a kind of chariot that Soul gets to pull along, and Soul has fun with that. Soul likes being
Oh boy.
able to pull things. Um, that was a 14 on a whiz save for Soul, so they're not immediately going to bolt off. Um, they are just going to kind of shuffle restlessly, look behind them at Lao, and then out into the woods, and then back at Lao. And he's just gonna, if I unhook you and you go off and you go and have your own little bit of fun, I need you to not cause much, if any, trouble, you understand? So stands there for a second, puts their head from side to side to side, their little yellow petals swishing. Before they nod, they unhook themselves from the wheelchair, and then they turn around and trot up into the woods, and now calls out behind them, just be careful, do not drink everything you see, and Soul just
Um.
vanishes into the
Oh
woods.
boy. Just just fucking runs into the woods. It's fine.
It's fine. They're a giant plant horse. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It's
Um,
all good. It's all fine.
yeah. Other than that little conversation, I did roll a 19 on perception.
Yeah. So with that 19, you can. It's the archives looks very. It looks like a library. Just on the outside, it looks like a pretty normal library building. It's not entirely. It's not very big. However, it's not very small either. Uh, there is no sign. It's there. There is no sign. It's just a normal, regular building, and yeah, that's really all you can see. It looks perfect. I mean, the only reason why it kind of could probably stand out is because there's not a single other building in sight right now.
It's just slam dam plunk down in the middle of the woods.
Yes,
It's up on a
I mean,
hill away from
it's
the
a
town.
clearing. It's a clearing in the middle of the woods, but it's still nonetheless in the middle of the woods. It's not too far away from the nearby town, but uh, it's still in the middle of the woods.
Now's just gonna furrow his brow and look around, and he's gonna mutter to himself, well, I didn't expect it to be a hermitage site, but I suppose not got much room to judge, have I? And if there's like, is there like a doorknob or like a bell or something, a pull string bell? What have we got to announce ourselves here?
Uh, it's a pull string bell. It just there's a little tingle when you open the door.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a two. Just saying, it is a two door. You know, it's the door. It's a door with two doors. You know.
Well, like a bottom and a top kind of thing, or
Uh,
oh no, it's like two doors to
no.
push in kind of thing.
Yes,
Oh,
it's a library door.
it's
You
a
know how
double
it
door.
is.
It's a double
Yeah,
door.
it's a double door. It's
Okay.
a double door. And I will say, when you enter, I'm taking your 19 perception because it was pretty good. When you enter, the first thing you notice is that this place is way bigger in the inside than it is on the outside. Like the room you're standing in right now definitely probably wouldn't fit in the building you saw outside.
Hmm. Lao's gonna come in, look around very briefly, we'll back out, look at the outside of the building, then look at the inside, and then look at the outside, and then look at the inside, and he's just gonna, hmm, that is some strange. I presume it's got to be some kind of magic that's doing this, but that is that's certainly interesting. And he's gonna wheel himself back inside, close the door behind him, um, and he's gonna look around. So, what is in this main hall? Like, is there anything like a desk or more doors he can look at?
Uh, there is this room is fairly big. There's what looks to be like what's it called, a service desk in near the end of the room. There's a bunch of chairs. There's some bean bags. You think this is probably like uh, a waiting area. It it looks like it's a waiting area, and there's a desk. There's some books. There's more brochures you can see on the side for the archives. there's a weird looking shrine, but you're not entirely sure what it is. I mean, you can roll history
A
to see what
shrine.
the shrine looks like. I mean, it's a
Ooh.
small shrine. It's the smaller shrine. It's a smaller version of a shrine. You can roll
Okay.
history to see what's going on over there.
Well, that's a 21.
Well then, you look at the shrine and uh, you definitely recognize this figure from somewhere. With 21, you think you might have seen this figure before somewhere. Uh, but the thing is, you can remember the description given to this figure was quite vague. You think this is the god Hiatus that some people worship, but not a lot of people really seem to understand or really can figure out what. Because the thing about this figure is that it looks like a. It looks. The statue looks unfinished. Is the first thing you notice. The statue looks unfinished, as if someone had started making it and just stopped halfway. Like the bottom part, it still actually it still looks like it's a block. It still looks like it's originally supposed to be like a cinder block or something like that.
Mm.
Like no one finished this statue, so you can only see the probably upper torso of this person, and even then, it still also looks unfinished, as if someone tried to draw them, but then never got to outlining it. It's just a sketch.
Hmm. Okay. See, now this is interesting because Lao has actually been looking up religions and like myths and stories kind of deal in the Toontown libraries. He's been scouring those places vigorously and stuff. So it's not a surprise he come across a description of hiatus. Um, but huh, just gonna kind of head to the side and furrow his brow a little bit at that. He's not gonna touch it because it's a shrine. You don't do that.
You don't touch shrines.
Don't touch shrines unless you're leaving an offering. Um, hmm. Actually, let me see. Do you even have? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. No, I
Hmm?
don't. No, I don't have any. Never mind. Um, never mind that. He's gonna just turn around and make his way towards the desk. I presume there's like one of those little ring bells that you tap.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, he's gonna ding that like ding and just wait.
It takes a couple of seconds before you hear some some like footsteps coming from behind. There is a door behind the receptionist desk. I forgot to mention it, but there is, and you hear some footsteps coming. Was like coming. Give me a minute, and you open it, and the door opens, and you see. I don't have any art for him yet, but I'll get around to it. You see an object head tune that seems to look very similar to Shuffle, except for one key detail is that instead of a Rubik's cube for a head, he has a top.
Oh, like a spinning top.
Yes, he does.
Oh, oh, that's good. Oh, I love that. Um,
Yeah.
Nell's going to tilt his head to the other side this time and look at this person, and he's gonna think about what he's gonna say. He's gonna say, "I don't suppose this would be the archive. I presume this is the archives, isn't it?"
It's it's depending on which archives you're talking about. This is in fact the development archives. If you're looking for a different archive, then I'm not entirely sure.
Well, and he's gonna just hold out the brochure. Uh, Actually, he might have that in his hammer space. Because yeah, yeah,
Well, okay, that works.
yeah. He reaches underneath his blanket. So Lao is wearing his blue sari. That is in the title card, but he is also on his lap. It's not covering him completely. It's just folded up into like a little square on his lap. He has another blanket. It's like a red Afghan blanket, like little brown and green detailing stripes. It's very old. He's gonna
Hmm.
reach his hand underneath the folds of that, have a ruffle around, and then he's gonna pull out the brochure. He's gonna hold it up and hand it over to the desk, and he's gonna say, "I was given this by someone I met a couple of weeks ago, and they said that if anyone wanted to pop by and visit, then we could do so. And I'm rather curious as to what exactly this is all about."
Uh, the man takes a look at the brochure you gave him, and like you can sort of he says it quietly, but you can definitely still hear it. He just says, "I told them not to give these out, but they never listen." Okay. Uh, well then. So, what business do you have here? Are you a donator, a collector, or are you simply just a visitor?
Well, for the moment, I don't know exactly what this, and he gestures with one hand around, what this is all about, so I suppose for the moment I'm a visitor.
He takes another look at the brochure and he just sighs and is like, he had to give one that didn't even specify. Okay. Well, so, welcome to the Development Archives. This is a place where we store, how should I put it, unfinished pieces of work, essentially. Have you heard of the god hiatus? By any
Uh,
chance? It'll make this explanation far simpler.
Lao kind of flicks his beak over his shoulder towards where the shrine is and says, "Well, I recognized that upon coming in, and I believe that is hiatus, isn't it? I've read about them in some of the readings, although actual imagery of them seems to be rather sparse."
That, yes, that is in fact hiatus. You have come to essentially what is some we it's described as the archives, but it can also serve as a sort of shrine to hiatus. We collect essentially, like I said before, we collect unfinished pieces of work here, and simply they are stored here until someone either comes to collect them or simply I'm look. We've been doing this for a few years, and even I'm not entirely sure what it is we're doing. And he
Hmm,
kind of looks very tired.
gosh. Okay. Do you want to roll an insight for me quickly?
Yes, I would love to roll insight.
Also ignore the D. That's supposed to be a 13, not 10. I keep forgetting I'm rolling with actual dice.
Hmm,
Um, Gosh.
I'm just gonna roll a straight d20. 9.
No,
What
you
does
don't
that
get it.
get me?
You see this bird's face kind of twist a little bit before he shakes his head, and one of the curls on his head just goes before he takes it off. And he
Hmm.
leans back in his chair and goes, "Right, so this place is a sort of monastery or holy ground specifically for hiatus, then?"
Yes.
Now just nods his head and then looks around and says, "Well, I don't suppose I would be able to have a look around at all." And he raises a brow that he doesn't have, but you can tell by the widening of his eye, it seems to be the impression he's giving.
Yes, that would this is your first time in the archives, correct? Um this is your first time in the archives, correct? You have never been here prior to this?
I did say I didn't know what this place was, so
Yeah,
yes.
just just double checking.
You're gonna see
That would
now one of
so
his.
you would simply just be a visitor. Sorry, wait, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, as you ask that, you're just gonna see Lao lean his beak in one hand, and then the other hand is just gonna tap against the wheelchair, which you will probably notice isn't a Toon wheelchair; it's a wooden real kind chair. And he's just
Ooh.
tapping his finger claw wings. Kind of hard to tell. His fingers. He's just drumming those like very very slowly against the side of one of his arms on the chair. while his head's propped in his other arm.
Okay, the man looks at you. It's like, okay, this is your first time here. That means you're a visitor. I'm gonna need you to sign this then, if you're just going to simply look around.
Oh, cool.
And he just takes
Waivers.
out, like, he, he's,
Oh, cool.
okay.
DNF. Am I signing an NDA
Yeah,
right now?
he takes out he takes out a piece of paper. It's not exactly, it just looks like a normal document. You can roll like an insight if you want to check what it says.
Do you want me to
Like,
roll investigation? Because I think that would.
investigation.
Yeah.
Investigation. That would be better.
I like using this one because its modifier isn't as good. And that's
Hmm.
a whole 6. This tracks for Lao. This tracks because him and documentation uh don't often go well.
Oh boy.
Sure as a piece of
Yeah.
paper.
You try to read this thing, but there's just so many words, and sometimes the sentences just cut off too quickly. Once again, this thing looks unfinished. If you're starting to sense a theme here. You're starting to sense a theme here. That
Lao's
a
just gonna
lot of the stuff here is just unfinished.
Lao's just gonna like take this piece of paper, think like tick, tick, twice, and then he's just gonna look up at this spinning top person dead in the eye, and, well, in the top, and just say, "You want me to sign a half-finished contract? I understand that perhaps this is rather the whole deal with hiatus, but you want me to sign a contract that is half finished?"
The man sighs. It's like, yes, I am aware how weird that sounds, but if you just want the to TLDR, it simply just allows you to visit, but you are not allowed to take anything out of the archives with you when you
Now,
leave.
let me just roll something quickly. I need to roll a intelligence check. What do you think of this, mate? Right, come on. Okay.
Oh
So that
boy.
is that's a 9. It's a shame he wouldn't actually. Can I say peck the dice on this because I feel like he would do this.
Yeah,
And
it's an FPS. We can do what we want. It's
do what we
all
want.
good.
Screw you, dice, with his low rolls.
Yeah, screw you, dice.
He's gonna look at this piece of paper and gonna see he's not gonna take like a pen or a pencil or anything. He's gonna put his what constitutes his pinky finger, and he is going to write. I'm gonna type this in chat. He's gonna write that. Considering the kind of contract this is, he is going to write LAVIDLI, and he's not gonna finish his
Uh,
name.
oh my god, that's actually brilliant.
La
Uh,
Vivli, La Vivli.
Obviously. The man takes it and he
Do you
looks at you. It's like, okay then, Mr. Blee, Mr. Blee. Uh, as much as I would love to continue this conversation and be your personal guide to the archives, I simply am too busy to deal with that. So give us a moment as I get you a proper guide. And he goes back through the door, and you're left alone for like a few seconds, and then you can hear him scream, just like shuffle.
Oh my gosh. I will say I rolled
And
a
then
10
you
for a
hear
deception, and he's just putting his head in his hand, and he's clamping one of his hands around his beak just to stop himself from chuckling.
oh my god. So yeah. But back to the door. You hear the voice you were just hearing just yell shuffle, and then you hear a more muffled what, as if it's like farther away, and the voice just goes, and then you hear the voice again. It's like, someone one's in the front entrance. I'm too busy. You deal with them. And you hear the other voice say, why do I have to deal with them? I'm busy moving stuff. And then the voice once again, you just keep hearing this banter until finally you hear the more muffled voice say, fine, fine, God, fine. And then it's quiet again for like a few seconds. And
Okay.
then, oh boy, he's here. He opens the door, like a person opens the door, and yeah, you see Shuffle.
Could you do me a favor and roll a perception for Shuffle, please?
Oh yes, God.
Gosh. I mean, this has been a delight already. No, you
11.
don't notice! Never mind!
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh
Don't worry
man.
about it, it's fine, you
Dang.
don't notice. There is everything is as it should be. Please
Everything is
continue.
fine.
Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. But yeah, you see Shuffle walk in, and like he has his head looking downwards. It's like, okay, let's get this over with. And then he sees you, and then and then like he looks at the document that you think like was the paper you signed, and he looks back up, and it's like, okay then, Mr. Blee, Bly, I I had no idea your name was Lao Vis Blind. I thought your name was something else entirely.
Gosh, I gotta make a decision now. I gotta make a decision for Lao. Are you gonna do this or are you gonna not? Um, well, that's an 11. I don't think. Actually, let me just check something. Where is your. Yeah. Oh no, that's a 12. Um, okay. So, you see him start to smirk and then lift a finger up and, like, start to speak and then he stops. And then he just lowers his hand back down and shakes his head. He's like, no, well, that isn't my full name, but I thought it would be, well, fitting to not sign, well, the whole name, considering, and he, again, gestures around the whole room, and specifically at the statue, I thought it would be rather more appropriate in this setting not to finish my signature.
uh, yeah, Shuffle looks at you, and then he just, yeah, fair enough. That that's fair enough, to be honest. Also, that's pretty hilarious.
It's his head.
And
Lao looks confused, like, why? Why would that be funny? It's isn't that so? Looks he looks confused, almost.
oh my god, Lao.
Look, he doesn't understand. Like, isn't that what you're supposed? Isn't that you're supposed to do? Like, other people not do that? 'Cause it feels like it should be the thing you do, right?
Oh my god. Oh my god, Lao.
Look, my boy is both very smart and incredibly stupid. In a
Yeah,
variety of ways.
yeah, that completely, yeah, that makes sense. uh, but yeah, you just see Shuffle like you just see Shuffle put the document aside. It's like, so you wanted a tour of the archives, I presume?
He leans back in his chair, gives a nod, and said, "Well, you did hand these out for a reason, didn't you?" And he just taps on the brochure that's still on the desk.
I did, I did. I just didn't really expect anyone to be coming. In all honesty, no one really has the motivation to get through all of to get to this place. Also, usually when they come, they just kind of feel underwhelmed and just leave immediately. But anyway, besides all that,
You see, as you start speaking, no one seems to have the motivation or the drive to do it. You just see him slowly sit up in his chair, and suddenly there is it's like a strange look in his eye. As you say that, and he looks you dead in your checkered face, and says, "Well, I don't. Well, I suppose, depending on how this visit goes, you may have potentially someone that would pick up a project or two, depending on what is left, of course.
Hmm. All right. And he's just going to walk towards. There's another door you didn't know. I forgot to mention. There's like a few
Look,
doors in this room.
look,
Like I forgot to mention that.
we can say it's part of the background, and then as you look over, suddenly it pops into 3D. Like, you know how your 2D background all kind of blends in, and then you look over, and then
Yeah.
suddenly, oh, you're suddenly
It's
outlined like you are part of the foreground.
oh my that's exactly what happens.
Yes,
Yeah, you
good.
just see a door pop up and it's like anyway, just follow me. Don't try to don't try to go off on your own because if you do, you will get lost. This is a warning. That's also part of the document you signed. Though considering how it looked, I'm pretty sure you didn't see that. And also, I apologize for my brother. He can be kind of rude when he's tired. So yeah,
Now it's kind of. Don't worry about the rudeness. Trust me, I've dealt with far ruder than that. And he's just gonna follow you along.
yeah. And well, now we are getting to the actual archives. Which wow, that took a while. Sorry about that. I just I just had
Don't
an idea of you
apologize.
meeting like one of Shuffle's brothers, and it's just
Don't
that whole
apologize.
situation.
It's good. It is good, and it's more, and it's expanding the universe. It is the good
Yeah.
shit.
And you enter the archives. And first thing, I'm can I have you roll a perception
Hey,
real quick?
what do you roll? What do you roll? It's a single digit. It's a single digit.
And also maybe a wisdom save after that.
Oh boy. Well, his
Don't worry, you won't
perception.
get any psychic damage. You won't get any damage. It's just oh
I mean, if
boy.
you want to deal me damage, I will take it because it's hilarious. So that's a 9 for his perception. Your whiz save. Oh, that's
Yeah.
decent. Okay. I think your whiz save was a classic. Yes, it is. So that's a 24 on the whiz save.
Is that is it? Holy shoot.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that 9 perception, it's definitely enough to see that if you thought the if you thought the waiting room was bigger than the actual house on the outside, this place is huge. You can't even this room it's if you think it's a room, it's like IKEA, you know?
Oh no.
You know how like you go to IKEA and like
Yes.
it's super big on the inside and like you have all the furniture like sofas and stuff, right? The
Mm-hmm.
big furniture in that one area. Yeah,
Mm.
it's that one area, but you can't see the end of the room. You just
Oh.
see lines and lines of different shelves packed to the brim with different items. And like upon if you were to look closer, you would notice that the shelves are moving. They're phasing in, phasing out. Thankfully, you succeeded on that wisdom save, so you're not immediately like, what the? You're not immediately like so confused by that. You're taking psychic damage because, yeah, it's just this place keeps moving, but at the same time, not. You're not entirely sure what's going on,
Oh my
I will
gosh.
say.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Lao's looking at all this. It's probably because he's trying to focus on one shelf and then it phases out, and he's just like, right, I have to
Mhm.
refocus on what's on that shelf, and then that phases out, and he's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. So he's just kind of gonna look around, and he's gonna look towards Shuffle and say, so this whole thing seems like it's got some extensions on its magics, I would say, because this, and he gestures around, the whole never-ending bookshelves, this seems like it really shouldn't fit into one building.
It's very old magic, if you want to know why. This has been around since Heck, I don't even think my family knows how long it's been around. It's just been around for like forever, in all honesty. So yes, it's very old magic. Uh, yeah, a lot of people get underwhelmed when they see the outside, and a lot of people get overwhelmed when they see the inside. So once again, I didn't really expect that many visitors.
Now's just gonna nod his head, understanding. Yeah. Well, from the outside, it does just look like a plain old library building, and it's well, certainly interesting to see it on the inside. Um, and he's gonna. You wanna roll an insight?
Yes, please shuffle. Just you're supposed to be good at these. It's a +4, but like he's supposed to be okay at these.
Come on, shuffle. Come on, shuffle.
Come on,
Come on, shuffle.
15.
15. All right, that's enough. So you look around and you look down at this bird, and he seems to be the squinting at the bookshelves. Do the bookshelves have labels on them, perchance?
Yes, there are in fact labels, but once again, it feels like every time you try to focus on them, like it sort of phases in, phases out. You're not entirely sure,
Okay.
as
Uh,
if these labels were incomplete. God.
you can see you can see Lao is looking at these labels, and it seems like he's trying to find a specific one. Like he seems to
uh,
be looking for a specific section, but
hmm. Shuffle is going to look at where you're looking, and it's just, are you looking for something specific? Because if so, I mean, I am your supposed to be your guide and stuff, so
Lao's just gonna kind of reel back a bit from when he was leaning forward in his chair, like both of his hands were at the edge of his armrest, and he was kind of leaning forward and looking, uh, putting his head from side to side, actually trying to look at these, trying to look at these labels, and he blinks, looks up and shuffles, says, "Well, if you had a section on botany or anything, I suppose plant related, that would certainly be well, it would that would certainly be a point of interest for me, at least."
uh, Shuffle thinks about this for a while, and like he looks back and is like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we do have something about botany, but I don't really think this is the best place to look for stuff like that, considering that everything that's stored here is well unfinished.
Um, Lao's just gonna like give his. You can see his beak kind of twitch up in the beginnings of a grin. He's gonna say, "Well, depending on what's been stored here, it depends whether I feel like perhaps, if I get the chance, I may finish one of these off. Depending on what it is, of course."
Hmm. Oh, okay. Uh, I mean, if you were looking to bring something with you, if you were looking to try and complete one of these works, you probably should have probably signed the document for collectors rather than a visitor.
Well,
We
I
can have
don't.
you sign that.
Well, I don't know whether I have an interest in anything here yet, so I didn't exactly want to sign a collector's document. I would rather have a full look around and then assess whether it would be possible for me to have a uh, whether it be possible or feasible for me to finish one of these works rather than just look at them. But uh, anyhow, you are the guide, so he kind of gestures for you to continue. I suppose rather take a general look around and then we can get down to specifics later on.
Hmm. All right then. Yeah, I know where the botany section is, and yeah, he just proceeds to walk in a direction, and I'm guessing you're following him.
Yeah, Lao isn't stupid enough to wander away, especially in a place that's so full of magic like this.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for being smart.
Look, Lao can be dumb in a variety of ways. He's not dumb in that he's gonna lose himself in a magical library archive without a guide. He's never been here before. He's not stupid enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna go off on my own.
Good, because I will like you will get lost if you don't have a guide. Like you cannot see the walls in this room. The bookshelves. There are no landmarks or like any like landmarks to probably help you direct yourself back to the exits. So yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's gonna follow. He's gonna follow Shuffle.
Uh, as you're following Shuffle, can you roll me another perception?
I would love to
It's a
roll.
really low. It's a really low DC because you're just essentially looking around at all the other stuff.
When the DC is low, I roll high. So that was a 22.
Oh my goodness. I mean, with that, I will say you see a lot more stuff than you would have if you just roll like a 5 or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You you look around, you see like a bunch. You see the bookshelves, you see them phasing in and out of existence, but like you realize that if you were to focus on them quickly and if you look at them super quickly, you can actually notice what each of the shelves sort of has in them. So some of them have just boxes and boxes of stuff labeled uh unfinished sculptures. You see like a bookshelf that's also maybe labeled unsolved cases. There's another bookshelf that's just labeled manuscripts. It doesn't even have the word unfinished on it. It just says manuscripts. You see pictures, and you do notice there is one specific with that roll. You will notice there is one specific bookshelf that definitely looks different. It phases in and out of existence a lot. It phases in and out of existence a lot more than the rest of them, and you can see that it's labeled conversations.
Oh, oh, okay. That is. Gosh, I'm gonna roll a whiz save to see if he gets distracted by this because, well, that's an 11. I think he's
You
gonna.
you You might, yeah, you might like veer off the path a bit. I mean, Shuffle is keeping an eye on you, so he will notice you veering off the path a bit and like notice where you're headed. So he's just
Yeah,
gonna follow you a bit.
Shuffle is. Lao's gonna try and move past it, but then he's. Shuffle's probably gonna notice that the sound of wheels against the floor starts to slow down, like the very smooth whir of wheels against the floor starts to slow, which you probably turn around and you see Lao is following you still, but his head is firmly turned towards that conversation bookshelf.
He turns his head towards the bookshelf and is like, "Oh, so unfinished conversations have piqued your interest."
You're just gonna get a very slow nod from Lao, and he's focused very intently on that bookshelf. He doesn't say a word.
I mean, like if you Shuffle is like, if you want, you can take a closer look.
He's not gonna say anything, but he's gonna turn back towards you, give a quick nod, and turn around and head towards that bookshelf.
Yeah. So at the bookshelf, so the fact that you're closer helps the fact that it stops phasing in and out of existence a lot more. It starts to become more stable the closer you get to it. And on this bookshelf, you see that instead of just normal cardboard boxes or stuff like that, that usually help store these physical items, you can see that it's actually these weird tiny boxes around the size of like a ring box, a box that's usually is used to store rings
Hmm.
and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And they're
Okay.
all like very neatly put on the unlike the rest of this entire archive, which is fairly like oh god, what there's boxes and boxes everywhere. Some of these bookshelves are like packed. This one, all of the boxes seem to be very neatly laid. Like there's evenly spaced out and everything.
Okay. Hmm. Man, I should have asked you this before, but I didn't know this was going to come up.
Hmm.
I might have to just ask you quickly in the roll zone about this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should have discussed this a bit more, but like, I
Oh
just,
well.
oh boy, oh
Oh
well,
well.
it's fine, it's fine, everything is fine. Uh, I will say, will Shuffle will look at you and like seeing as you're not really saying anything, he's gonna try and explain what this bookshelf is specifically since it piqued your interest. And he says, "This is the bookshelf of unfinished. This is the shelf of unfinished conversations. Essentially, conversations that were supposed to be that people that were supposed to help solve stuff and just well, they never really got like resolved.
Hmm. Okay. I just say
This one is specifically the no one donates anything here. They just appear randomly. That's the reason why it's so neat.
okay. I'm gonna roll another investigation because Lao is looking for something here. Yeah. Okay. That's a 16 on an investigation for Lao. Um, so he's looking very intently at the shelves. Um, and he seemed to be looking for a particular thing. Um, and with a 16, would you say that he would be able to find a certain conversation?
I think it might take you a while,
Hmm.
and like it might take you a while, but you do find it with a 16 because once again, I will say this shelf is very neatly organized. Like there are labels on each of the boxes too, but mostly they are the names of the people who had these conversations.
Okay. I guess if you want, Shuffle can also roll a perception, insight, or investigation, whatever you want, because Lao
I'm
is
gonna roll insight because
for it. Because Lao's been scouring these shelves, and then he just stops, and his beak is pressed, well, pointed very poor. Whew, it's 19. With a 19,
19 boys.
finally. You can tell he's looking for something. Specifically, the reason you think he's come over to this shelf, the way he's kind of scouring it, he's looking for a very particular conversation. And then as he stops and looks dead at a particular box, you realize, oh, is he looking for one of his conversations? And you turn towards the box, and you quickly see that it's, however they're labeled, Lao's name is labeled on this. Um, but before you can see who the other person is labeled on the box, uh, Lao turns away very swiftly from the wall, the bookcase, and sort of starts to move on and says, well, I think that's quite enough of that. I think we should probably move on, don't you think? And he's just going to make his way away from the bookcase.
Hmm. Okay. Shuffle's going to fucking. Okay. The thing is,
Mm-hmm.
unlike unlike my other character, like I unlike my other character aspects, the Shuffle is not one to pry. He is not one to ask questions. He is not one to bug to like fucking point a stick, like poke a stick at people. So
That's
he's
fair.
not going to question loud, but he is going to be like, that's
That's
interesting.
that is very fair. And thank you, Shuffle,
And
for not posing.
he is going to do a double take on the box. Can he at least see what who the other person is?
I'm gonna
Because
have to ask you to roll probably a perception on that.
oh boy, oh boy, come on. Because as much as like Shuffle isn't like someone who goes digging for lore. I, the player, am. Like,
Pencils. I
I
smell
would like
law.
lore, please. Like, I want lore, please. Come on.
Oh, that's
21.
good. Okay. So it's kind of funny. You look at this box and you see Lao Vis Blind, and then you look at the second name, but as you look at it, it seems to change. Like you catch like RAB before it changes, and then it's CHIF changes again, and then it's CARM changes again. And it seems there are actually a few conversations Lau hasn't finished here. But even with a 21, it's kind of hard to focus on one particular name that comes up. However, you will for a brief second recognize that the end of one name is blind. So there's Lao Vis Blind, and then you are able to catch another blind after that before it swiftly changes over.
Okay. I. Okay. Man, I sure do wish. I sure do wish that Shuffle was more of a fucking.
Look, if
was
you want deeds, I might be able to tell you after the FPS, but
man, I really want. I'm a fucking lore gremlin. I just every time I see a hint of something, I'm like lore.
I handshake you.
Yeah, but yeah, Shuffle is just going to say, okay, well, I'm not gonna touch that. It's his own thing. Also, it's a rule in the archives that fucking if it's not yours, don't touch it.
Ah,
That
interesting.
only the simple. No, it's not. It's a rule in the archives for only the Godel family that if it's not yours, you can't touch it.
That's interesting. Considering.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Hmm.
It doesn't apply to anyone else. It only applies to the Godel family, mostly because they're the caretakers of this place.
I squint at them. I squint at them. Um, but anyhow, yeah, Lao's basically going off on his own. Shuffle, are you going to try and catch up with this guy? Because he's just striking out. He's just going.
Of course he is. You can't have this fucking old man, old man here. This
I
fucking
I have to say, I love how everyone assumes that Lao is an old man. I think it's
look.
brilliant.
I know. Like in the previous game, you mentioned what Lao's actual age is, but like he is an old man. Don't question. Like
Old
he's
man
an
at
old
heart.
man. Like Shuffle will still think this man is an old man because I don't think Lao actually said his age out loud.
He did
So
not.
Shuffle is just thinking, man, this old man is just fucking booking it.
Gosh, I just love that he's got old man vibes. That's exactly the vibe I wanted this guy to have, and it's kind of the vibe he
Yeah,
wants as
he's got
well.
old man. Yeah, it's the old man vibe. Shuffle doesn't know his actual age, so he's just like, man, Lao is pretty old.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna catch up to this guy?
Yes, yes.
Did you want me
Because
to
the
roll a
last time he
survival?
accidentally separated from. Yeah, the last time he accidentally separated from like a guest, that guest ended up staying in the fucking archives for 2 weeks before they found him.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, shuffle. You do manage to catch up with Lao. He's not going incredibly fast. What was that?
That was the survival check.
Oh, okay. Let me roll survival too.
Oh shit. I,
That's an
fuck.
18.
Is Shuffle gonna fucking lose track of this old man?
No, sorry, it
Oh
wasn't a
my god.
22. That was an 18. I rolled it wrong. Um,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it is that. So I mean, I feel like Shuffle kind of loses track of him for a second, and then you hear the squeaking of a wheel kind of roll out from one of the aisles, and you hear someone holler at you, I don't know where you're going exactly, but I thought you were going this way. And he's just gonna kind of give you, again, the raised eyebrow kind of deal, even though he doesn't have eyebrows. And he's just gonna kind of sit there and wait for you.
I'm gonna roll a deception real quick.
Oh, cool. Go ahead. I'm gonna
No,
contest that with an insight.
this is a funny deception. Don't worry about it.
Oh, cool.
That's a 10. He's supposed to be good at those. What the fuck?
Well, I rolled an insight, and there's also a 10.
Okay. Hmm. Uh. So it's basically just you can barely sense a sense of like a sweat. Like you can sort of see that Shuffle was sweating just a tiny bit, but that's all you're getting.
Nice. Okay.
Out of character, I will say Shuffle was fucking. It's like, oh god, like he was very worried he lost yet another old man in this fucking, and like his siblings would never trust him to fucking be a guide ever again.
I'm not gonna worry about that second old man right now.
Don't worry, they found him. They found him after 2 weeks. He was
Mm,
fine.
mm, okay.
He was
Whatever you
fine.
say,
It's fine.
pencils. Whatever you say.
It's it was fine. There's food in the archives. Don't worry.
Yeah, but it's half finished food. It's like a half finished plate of salmon. You can't eat half cooked salmon. That's bad for you.
I mean, it's fine.
It's a half done cake, which is just cake batter, which actually sounds pretty decent.
Yeah, it's like man survived on cake batter. It's fine. It's like I said. Like if Shovel lost track of another old man, he doesn't think his siblings would ever trust him ever again.
Oh gosh. Um, so would you say we eventually make our way? I don't know where Shuffles is leading, actually. Is Shuffles taking us to the botany section?
He is. He is taking you guys to the botany section.
Beautiful. Um, so what would you say is there then?
Hmm. I would say that this section has a lot of has a lot of flowers that haven't bloomed yet.
Ooh.
They're like sprouts and something alike to that. Uh, some of them you may be able to recognize, some of them maybe not. You're not entirely sure. Maybe roll for it because I know like Lao's fucking botany expert.
Um, what do you want me to roll? Nature or
Uh, nature.
come on, mate? Why are the dice forsaking me today? Because that is a whole 11. Lao, buddy. Can I roll with advantage? Because he knows plants.
Yes, you can because yes, you can. He knows plants. I'm pretty sure he.
That's better.
Hmm.
That is better. That is a 12, I think it. Is it a plus 7? Have you got plus 7 in there? Yes, you do. That's a 19. That's much better.
Okay, so with a 19, you recognize most of the flowers, and you recognize some of these are like really, really rare flowers, like probably endangered species that also haven't bloomed yet. A lot. Maybe there are also some flowers that like only bloom every 100 years or something like that. It's
Ooh.
it's English. It's
Special, strange, weird flowers. I feel like there might be some that
yeah.
are also like experimental flowers, like weird crossbreeds
Yes,
that.
there are in fact some that are experimental flowers that
Oh, oh gosh, you don't have to roll insight. You can see the curls in the back of his head just curl up and like over the top, um, and just they're curled like very tightly. You can also see his outline starts to lighten a bit. Like it starts to get very, very light, and as he slowly moves along these shelves, uh, he leaves like little trails of like kind of like smoke. It's sort of smoky, but it's like dust. It's kind of hard to say. But as he's wheeling along, he leaves like little trails of those behind himself as he's having a look at everything, and his eyes are just vibrating. Um, his whole everything is kind of vibrating as he's looking at these shelves, and he's just uh he's not saying
oh boy.
anything right now, but he is just ooh. He's looking. He is looking.
I guess you're pretty satisfied with this section. Shuffle's just gonna say, like, while standing back.
Uh, Lao's gonna very slowly turn towards Shuffle. Um, and he's gonna just I don't think satisfied is quite the word for this. And he's gonna he's gonna look he's gonna look for a particular thing actually because he's interested in a particular thing. Well, he doesn't find it. It's a 6 again.
Man,
Um,
man.
so he looks like he's scouring the shelves for something, and he frowns because he can't find it. Maybe there's no actual works on this yet, or perhaps it's just not on the shelves available at the moment. But he looks around, sighs because it's not there, and then he turns back around or shuffles, laces his fingers together and cocks his head to the side, and he nods and says, "Well, I think, in terms at least for this section," and he gestures at the wall of very rare, interesting experimental flowers. "I think at least for this section, you certainly have yourself a collector for that."
Look, my family is extremely proud of their collection, so yeah.
Yeah, Lao's just gonna kind of nod, and he's again looking at these shelves and then looking back at shop and says, "I won't sign any paperwork at the moment. However, you know that I am going to be returning because these are in fact incredibly interesting." And he's just gonna gaze over these plants with avid interest. He has not stopped like spoofing dust around. You can roll uh you can roll something for that if you wanted to find out what the hell is going on with that. It just looks like
Okay,
as
what
he's
do
been
I roll?
um I guess let me see. Investigation or perception if you want.
Both of those are +2, so I'm just gonna roll that.
Go for it. 4.
A 4.
I ain't got a clue.
God,
You
oh,
don't know what
Shuffle.
you don't know what this is, but you do know that this guy, seemingly at the moment, is pretty happy, pretty content with this shelf. So it's probably not bad. Probably fine. Um, as he looks at these shelves. He looks like he's actually. I'm gonna roll this safe for him. This is where you get a nat 20? Really? This is where you get the nat 20? Really?
Oh
Like you mean it?
man.
So he doesn't actually reach out and touch anything. But he does look very intently. He does look like he wants to, but he resists and he turns back towards Shuffle, nods his head and says, "Well, I wouldn't mind finishing the tour, if you'd like, but at least for this section, I can guarantee that at some point I'll be coming back to either finish off some of these unfinished projects or, yes, I think I will be coming back here." And he looks again at the shelf and looks back at Shuffle. But he
Um,
basically gestures on Shuffle to continue.
I will say, despite not having a face, you can feel the intention of a smile on Shuffle's Rubik's Cube.
I feel like three like the two middle cubes and then the bottom uh for the rows, like the middle row, like the two ones the left or the right, and then the middle cube on the bottom row are all the same color. So it's like a man. I'm really bad at explaining this, but it's like a
No, no, yeah, yeah, that probably happens. You can
the
see like
Dallas
his head
triangle
shuffles,
kind of
his
smile.
head, his head shuffles a bit, and like there's a small smile on his on like his Rubik's cube head.
Ah, I hold Shuffle gently.
Thank
Um,
you.
gosh. I mean, man, Lao Lao will probably ask a few more questions as they're going through. Like he'll probably ask more about Godel history, how they set themselves up, that kind of thing. He's going to be nosy.
Oh yeah, Shuffle will answer as best as he can. It's like, The Godel history goes like a long way. I think they've been around like they've been around for a very very long time. But like the family tree that I know personally only really goes to like 5 generations down. That's when we start recording it. I think
I was just gonna.
5 generations up, down. I don't know what's the word for it.
I think 5 generations kind of works. Yeah,
Yeah.
generation is a good word for that. I was just gonna nod at that, and he's just gonna kind of look around and say, "You said there were. Well, I believe your brother might have mentioned it. There were other archives."
Uh, yes, it's just the Goldell archives are probably the biggest one for this sort of stuff.
Hmm. Just gonna cock his head. I'm gonna think about that for a bit. Gonna note that down in his head for later. Um, but yeah, if there was anything, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to do, pencils. But if there is, let me know. Um,
Uh,
because Lao's basically
I
done
mean,
what he
like,
wants to do.
I think the only thing that I wanted to mention was that Shuffle just mentions like, uh, he will mention that his sister, his oldest sister, is usually the one who takes care of these archives. She's the head.
Mm,
The guy you met in the desk was his oldest brother.
mm.
His name was his name was Rumble.
Oh yeah,
His
Lao
name
didn't
was
ask a name. He never
Yeah.
asks
He didn't
names.
actually. He never asked Rumble's name.
Nope,
So he's
he's
just
got
gonna.
no manners.
And Rumble didn't actually really say anything about his own name, so it's just mystery man,
Mystery man, mystery top.
mystery top. Uh, he also mentions that two of his other siblings they can take over the like mostly it's Scramble and Rumble who takes care of the archives. Shudder, his third sister, his the middle daughter.
Hmm.
Uh, she is mostly just traveling the world. They're not entirely like she sends postcards about her current location, but currently they don't know where she is. But they know she's fine. She's safe.
Oh, good.
And his and his uh the second youngest child Shuffles the lot basically. Uh, like I said, Shuffle has four older siblings. We have the oldest sister, the second oldest son, the middle daughter, and the second youngest child, which is Rattle. He is currently in law school.
Oh my word.
he's he's the he's the one he's like the one kid who's like not really do like they're not entirely sure what he's doing. He's in law school, but that's all they really know.
He's in law school. We don't know what else he's doing, but he's certainly there.
Yeah,
Gosh.
essentially.
Okay. All right. So, I imagine they're having this conversation as they're like touring around the inside of the archives. Um,
Yep.
and I guess eventually Lau says that he's seen enough and he would like to leave, or at least go to the front desk. Um, I'm gonna try something. Let's see.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Gonna roll me another perception.
Yes.
Come on. It's 22.
Wait,
No,
wait, wait, wait.
you
No, no,
didn't
no.
roll a
I
D.
forgot the D. I forgot the D. I
You
forgot
did.
the D. Dang it. What?
It's a 24
Oh.
though. You still see it.
Oh.
You see,
Oh.
you see Lau pull something out the side pouch that he has in his wheelchair and just try to be very sly on placing it back on the counter. The whole time he'd taken the ding bell while you guys were having the argument. And he's just tried to very slyly put it back on the counter. You do see him do it though.
Oh my.
You see him put it
Oh
back.
my god. That's why he stuck.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that roll. Uh,
Don't worry, he's
Shuffle's
put it back.
not
It's
gonna
fine.
say anything, but he is. Shuffle's not gonna say anything, but he will silently judge.
That's fine. Judge this bird. He needs to be judged. Um, but before he goes, he's just gonna look at Shuffle and say, Is there any paperwork I need to sign up as a collector, or is that to be done on the day?
It's mostly just done on the day. It's essentially the same thing. You only had to sign like 2 extra documents after. You only really had to sign 2 extra papers.
Lao's just gonna nod his head in understanding, like, I'm right. Yes, that should be fine then. And let me just check something because he might have. I want to see if he's actually got something. I thought he had something, but I don't think he does. Do you not? Do you not have it? I don't think you do. Oh, that's a shame. You don't actually have it on you.
Oh.
Oh, actually. Hang on. Let me just check his fumble chart quickly. Because he might have something. He's kind of looking at the shrine and squinting. I'm just going to check if he has got a thing. Bear with me, audience. I am looking at fumble stuff and looking at items because this is technically like a holy monastery slash sanctuary, and you're supposed to pay your respects to the deities there. And Lao would like to at least just offer up, just a little thank you kind of deal for letting him go around the archives and at least show his respect. I need to find if he's got this. Let's see. Oh, I don't have that anymore, so that can come off. There we go. Let's see. Gosh. Okay. So he's going to roll hammer space. Yep. So you're going to see him reach underneath his blankets, have a quick punch around, and he's gonna pull out a small bag of something. And he's gonna go over to the altar, and he's just gonna leave this paper bag on the altar. It does sound like there's something in it, but he's just gonna pop the paper bag on the altar, come back towards Shuffle, and he's just gonna say, I appreciate the escort around the archives. I suppose at some point we'll be seeing each other again. And he's just gonna nod his head, turn around, and unless there's anything you want Shuffle to do before he goes, he's gonna make his way out.
I don't think Shuffle really does anything except maybe like a wave goodbye, and he is going to like stare at the paper bag, like wondering, should I open that? It's an offering, but at the same time, why is it in the paper bag?
You wanna roll with safe?
A whiz save?
Yeah, to see if you can resist peeking.
Okay, fair. Okay, let's try. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Okay, I thought I accidentally closed the tab for a minute.
No.
Oh boy. A whiz save. 20 plus 4. One.
No, can't resist. You think it's a bad idea,
Okay,
but you just can't help yourself.
He's gonna like take a tiny peek into the bag.
Well, first of all, you can smell it before you open it. You smell like a sweet, zesty, lemony smell, and then a bit of chocolate. And then, weirdly enough, like vinegar, sort of. And you peek inside, and inside is a half-eaten cookie, which you may recognize from the last time we met Lao.
Oh my god! I think Shuffle is going to stare at it. And it's like, he's going to stare at it. And he's like, in his mind, currently, it's just, should I put this on the altar? Or should this, I don't.
Does this belong here? It is technically unfinished, but also it's somewhat of an offense.
But at the same time, it's like the gross cookie from like last time.
Is this offensive to my god or not?
Yeah, and like I guess we can just end the FPS there. Like if
Yeah,
you want, if there's nothing else, you can just end the FPS with a confused shuffle, wondering whether or not you should leave this offering there.
I think that's a beautiful way to end this. Gosh, thank you for playing with me,
Uh,
Pencils. This was a delight.
Thank you for just listening to me ramble about this goddamn
I like
archive.
I
I've
like
been
listening to the
trying.
rambles.
Yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah.
Thank you for hosting me, and thank you everyone for listening. Both present and future. I hope maybe these two will meet up again one day, potentially. Who knows? Yeah,
Potentially, who knows?
it's been wonderful. Thank you very much, Pencils. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodbye to everyone listening. Thank you again. Farewell.
Bye.